Hey new warriors, in this video we're gonna go over 3 of the best locations to build your village in LEGO Fortnite, so let's get straight to it. That being said, if you want to see more content like this on the channel and you also enjoy sci-fi gaming, then be sure as always to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get straight into the first point. So one of the best locations to build your village would honestly be on the cusp between two respective zones. So as you can see here, I have my village smack dab in between the Frostlands and the Grasslands. Now, why is this important? As you can see right here, it says that I'm freezing, right? However, because I'm on the cusp of the Grasslands, I can immediately remove that freezing option right there, immediately. So this is really impactful for those who are just looking to grab resources and come back to your respective main village. So right here, this is just a sub village for me. This is just a way for me to collect resources from the Frostlands and bring it back to my main hub, which is over here in the middle. And then I have the same thing for my drylands and the grasslands. So I'm always on the cusp between both the grasslands and the other respective location, therefore making my farming easier. And it makes it so that resource wise I can save and not have to worry about freezing too much, because I can run off right back to grasslands and therefore my ailment is gone. So hopefully this gives you some great insight. There is obviously more benefit to this, but of course the main benefit being that you can save resources and make it so that you can easily transfer between your respective sub village and of course where your main village is. So my recommendation is, if you're going to do this, build your main hub somewhere in between. So like for my case, as an example, mine is literally smack dab in between both lands, so I can farm in the Frostlands and come back to my main hub, and then farm in the Drylands and come back to my main hub. And because the distance between the two are not that far, it's easily, transferable as far as my resources. So that being said, let's move on to the second best location. So the second best location to build a village will be right next to a cave. And the reason why is because caves are really impactful in terms of your resources. And being able to go to a cave and safely return out of it, knowing that your village is right next to it, is really important. And of course, should you ever die in a cave, you want to be able to respawn in your respective location right away. So therefore it makes your transition and your traversing a lot more easier, rather than having to run from one respective cave all the way back to your location, which is pretty far away. For example, here now, because I have a sub village next to a cave, it makes it so that now I can access the cave, grab the resources within the cave, bring it back to my sub village or whatever, let's say my main village, and therefore life is easier. And as you can see here, another great little option and bonus point I can bring up too is, you want to build locations, or you build your village in a location where there's plenty of ample resource. So because my village is surrounded by a lot of trees and granite, this gives you a lot of opportunity to just farm for whatever you need. And because I'm on the cusp of both the Frostlands and the Grasslands, I can collect my frost pine here, I can collect granite, but also I can collect my wood on the other side, which is not too far from where I am. So this is massive, this is really important, and hopefully this will make your farming life a lot easier. That being said, let's move on to the last location. So for me, my biggest takeaway, honestly, when it comes to locations, is being near large bodies of water. And that's simply because, for one, when you're near bodies of water, water itself is the sustainer of all things. It creates life. And so whenever you have water nearby, you're more than likely to find animals such as chickens and cows and sheep, and also resources like wood, which come in abundance. You also have fruits and vegetables. And should you ever want to create your own farm, having water there is also really good for sustaining. But also, in my personal opinion, and I think this is perhaps something that may be implemented down the road and future-proof, is there's likely going to be a chance that LEGO Fortnite will add in some form of aquatic activity, be it in the form of maybe giving us bundles where we can design boats, not just makeshift boats, but actual boat bundles that you can typically find, you know, in a Lego pack, for example. But also, perhaps we'll sometimes see down the road the option to go fishing. So we'll have the option through weapons to craft. We can craft fishing rods, we can go fishing, grab fish and other means of food resource, and maybe even being able to swim underneath the water, because even now you can see a little bit of the water underneath, like with the granite. So my assumption would be that maybe at some point in the future we can swim underneath and we can hack away at the granite underneath the water and maybe grab fish with our bare hands, who knows. But the whole point is that being surrounded by an abundance of aqua is really wonderful, because it just means that you have an abundance of material that's always ready to be used. We have plenty of trees that are always just around the I guess the border of the water. You also have, again, granite, and as I mentioned before, you have access to animals which you can easily farm and gather, which there's wool and eggs and milk. So all these things you have readily available at your disposal, which makes the experience that much more fulfilling. And as I mentioned, again, it just future proofs your village in the event that there is a situation where things like boats, aquatic vehicles happen, or being able to swim and fish will be a part of our overall village experience. So hopefully this has given you a quick little glimpse as to what to expect, but also more importantly, I hope that these locations have given you some insight as to what to, build for yourself. So let me know in the comment section down below where you feel the best location is for your village, and share with everyone in the comments. Until next time, new warriors, as always, stay strong and keep fighting, and may the force be with you always. Peace.